Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Environmental Coffee House. It's Jennifer Hynes and Sandy Schoelles tonight, and we have a really good show for you guys, I think. Our, pre election show. Of course, we're not really going to talk about the election, although I do have one video I created. It's not long, and we will show it in a couple of minutes. Uh, Jen, how you been?
I've been good. I have to confess, I've been really distracted by this election, and I just am sort of obsessed with it. So it's nice to come here and get away from it, right? It's
Yeah,
just been like one of these pivotal things.
I hate it. I stopped. I'm only on my Environmental Coffee House Twitter. I'm not using my other Twitter because you can sit there and lay in bed when your back hurts and play on Twitter and 2 hours go by. I'm not going to do it. It's too stressful. I'm trying. So I'm not on any of that except for what we do, excuse me, until after the election. Except that I kind of had a slip
Yeah.
and I made this video because I got really angry at what I saw in Texas with all those MAGA morons driving on the highway. Then they could have caused an accident and made that bus that I'm sure everybody has
Ugh.
heard of.
I
Hmm.
could I heard about that too. I
Yeah,
was watching it. I could not believe it. You know what it
it's a
reminded me
cult.
of?
What?
It reminded me of Road Warrior. It reminded me of
Yeah,
those scenes in Road Warrior where all those cars like surround the bus and all they
yeah.
needed was freaking little machine guns. And, you know, it's
Well, it's shitty.
disgusting. I can't
It is
believe it,
disgusting.
you know,
It is
really. So
disgusting, but
is
these
that what
people
your
have.
video is about
Yes,
tonight?
it's of course it's 2 minutes of
Yeah.
and it's good. It's good. I'll show it as people join. I guess we'll be ready, and I'll say hi, Rich, Diana, and hey, Jude's here. Trish Kaiser, Kim Centeno, our mod, and Dolores Pierce is here. Hi, hi, hi. So Garrett Trosper and Cindy Seeley. Hi, Cindy, darling, and Michael Lee, and okay, we're gonna get started. So, Jen, why don't before I show the
Yeah.
video, do you want to go through what the articles are, or should we, what
Yeah.
where we're
Yeah. Let's
segueing to?
just
All right,
Yeah,
good.
let's just let people know where we're going tonight, what we've selected. So, the first article that we're going to go through tonight is from Manga Day, and it's an article about the Great Barrier Reef. It's very interesting. A mountain of reef taller than the Eiffel Tower found on the Great Barrier Reef. So, that's pretty
Mm-hmm.
interesting, natural
Mm-hmm.
phenomenon,
Yep.
especially considering that that reef is, I wouldn't say it's like completely dead, but it's kind of on the way of going there. The
Oh,
Great
I have
Barrier
some
Reef, very this
commentary.
biggest tragedy.
Yeah, I
Do
have some
you?
commentary on this. Yeah, but the next one.
Yeah. The next one's from Yale Climate Connections, and it's Hurricane Zeta's high winds caused second largest U.S. power outage of 2020. So this is
Wow.
kind of a flavor of things to come. They say
Yes.
that three
Yes.
deaths are blamed on the storm, which made landfall just
That's
this very
amazing.
last
People are
Wednesday in
prepared.
southeastern Louisiana. I mean, we're calling it Hurricane Zeta because there's so many hurricanes,
So many
right?
storms. Yes. And then the next one
So
we're going to go
scary.
through, we're going to move from the hurricane to
Yeah.
Typhoon Goni.
Yeah,
Hmm.
Typhoon Goni kills at least 10 as it hits the eastern Philippines. So, if you guys didn't know, there was a major, massive hurricane, and there were volcanic mud flows that buried houses before powerful winds weaken as storm blows
Yeah.
towards Manila.
There's
So,
some
it's pretty
videos
scary. And
too.
like volcanic mud
Yeah.
flows, that's very
Scary.
scary. You
And
have some video
then
for that.
I might be
Yeah.
able to pull it up on Twitter.
And
And then,
then,
of course, segue to who we love, the
right.
Arctic.
Um, oh, the Arctic, is that where you wanted
We
to go
love the
next? I
Arctic,
thought,
but it's Trump administration issues go ahead for a
uh,
major Arctic Alaska oil project. So that's what
ugh, God.
what we're segueing tonight from something good, something we have to report on the tornadoes, but then we are segueing and sliding right into graphs and right into Arctic ice and right
Oh,
into everything. Zach Lake temperature.
excellent.
Nick, I even have
Excellent.
Nick
That's
Humphrey's
great.
Twitter feed up. So yeah. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I guess then we have people are joining. We have 44 people. I guess we
Hey
could start
guys.
with we'll start and show I'll show my little video. It has nothing to do with climate change. It just has to do with the mood I was in when I saw that. So, let's go. You like it?
Yeah, that was really edgy. I love how you choose the music.
Oh, this
You
one
really
was a lot of
have a flair
editing.
for the brilliance with it.
I
It's
had to
it's
cut
very
this
edgy. It was
one.
good.
Well, I what I did was cut most of the song out, and all I wanted was the pieces
That
that said
beat.
packing to leave. I wanted the words packing.
Mhm.
Maybe I should pack to leave now. Fuck you, Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Pack and leave. Bring your cult with you. But anyway, that's that's the way it is. So I hope I can get that up on Twitter.
Yeah,
Um, Maybe it'll go viral. It's one of those little virally things that makes you think. And Trump says, yeah, laughing
it
dog. Trump says
does.
they were protecting the bus. My ass. He's a gaslighting liar. He's just disgusting. But anyway, Jen, I thought I did this rant the
Yes.
other night. And you do look beautiful tonight, by the way. Somebody said you look
Absolutely.
beautiful in that color. Yeah.
Ah, well, that's very, very
Hi, Gary
nice. The
Ballard.
girl can still pull it off.
Yes, we're pulling it off. We are. I'm not saying we are and fabulous. we are. We are the
Yeah,
Doomosphere divas,
exactly right.
and yeah. All right. So, what do you want to do here? You want to get started or goof around with everybody?
Yeah.
Let's get started.
I want to get started. I
Let's
want to
get
read
started.
this Manga Bay article
Yeah, I
about the
thought
Great
you would
Barrier
like
Reef because
it.
it's show that picture. It's so eerie looking, when you find things that have never been seen
Yeah,
before.
it is
So
wild.
this just came out this last week, the 27th of October, and it says a mountain of a reef taller than the Eiffel Tower found on the Great Barrier Reef. Researchers have recently found large detached coral reef measuring more than 500 meters, that's 1,640 feet, in height on the Great Barrier Reef Marine Park in Australia. This is
Easy.
the eighth known detached coral reef in the area and the first to be discovered in the past 120 years.
That begs
While
me to
little
have
is
questions. I can't help it.
hmm,
It begs me to have questions. Think
while
about it
little
though.
is known about
Why?
sorry, what?
Oh, I'm sorry, Jennifer.
What?
I can't keep my flow going from stopping with this. How could it be that it's only one if it's a park? And they're doing things like that all the time. I guess that's my question. Maybe the audience can think about that as you read it. And I didn't mean to interrupt. It's been
Well,
bugging
I
me.
think it's just ironic,
Yeah.
who knows why they
Yeah.
discovered this recently. Oh, by the way, they discovered, I don't know if you know this, Sandy,
No,
it's a
tell
very
me.
obscure thing, but they discovered a new organ in the human body. And it's the
They
first
did.
organ in the human body that's been discovered in 300 years.
Does it
They just
regulate
weren't looking.
fat?
It's right behind. No, it's an actual organ.
Oh,
It's a
good.
fourth salivary gland, and it's between the eyes and behind the nose, and it's kind of got two lobes to it, and it's a fourth salivary gland that
Oh my
who knows all
God.
the things it does. We don't know what it does, and it's there and it's been functioning, and they just never noticed it before. So yeah, a new
Jennifer.
organ. I mean, small.
All
Yeah,
right, new
in the human body.
organ,
That's right.
new barrier reef.
New organ
Okay.
in the human body. New mountain and barrier reef. I
Yep.
mean, what this shows is, we don't know fuck all.
I'm telling you, but we're trying
um,
to learn, and what we learn in the fuck
we
all
think we're
category is
smart.
that we're
We
bringing
think we know. We think we know. We
No, we're
think we
just
know
with
everything there
everybody.
is to know. Maybe we're just beginning
No.
to know.
Yes. Holy crap. All right, babe.
Yeah.
Keep going.
So,
Keep going.
all right. All right. So this particular reef doesn't appear to have been affected by the recent bleaching events at the Great Barrier National or Reef Marine Park, according to a lead researcher. What that means, this is a freestanding mountain of reef, and I guess it's away from that big bleaching event. So
I
it's still
know.
alive.
That's
I'm
what
alive.
freaked me out.
I'm alive.
It's
Researchers,
alive.
okay, it's alive. Hey, that's actually saying something in this time of extinction, right?
Right?
Research, okay, I'm going to launch into this thing so people can hear about it.
Oh.
Researchers have just made a remarkable discovery in the Great Barrier Reef Marine Park in Australia. While mapping the seafloor off the coast of Queensland State, scientists
Ooh.
on board RV Falcor stumbled
Oh.
on it. It was like the dragon in the Never-Ending Story or something,
All
or maybe
right.
his horse. I don't know. It was his horse. It was his horse. RV Falcor stumbled upon a huge detached coral reef, the first one to be found in 120 years. This detached coral reef is more than 500 meters, that's 1,640 feet tall, according to the Schmidt Ocean Institute, the foundation facilitating the expedition. That's about 1.5 times as tall as the Eiffel Tower, or 1 3/10 as high as the Empire State Building. So this thing is like freaking huge.
It's
And do you see that
unbelievable.
graphic? That
Yes, look at
that
that.
graphic that says broad mapping profile of new 500-meter detached reef. It's a
Looks
you
like
know
the
what this
Mars,
thing looks
like
like?
another planet.
It looks like something out of Close Encounters of the Kind,
Third
that
kind.
that volcanic tower in Wyoming or wherever the
Oh,
hell it was supposed to be. Remember that
it
thing? Looks
does.
just like that. It looks just
Yes,
like it. And it's on the edge of a ledge. It's very dramatic. It's
it is.
crazy looking,
I
right?
wonder what
Holy
those
cow.
divers must have been in shock. Once they went
Yeah.
down there and actually got to see it after looking at it through all of the, ocean, all
Yeah.
of the computers and all. Wow, the computer mapping. Oh my gosh.
Just
Whew.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And to continue, it's exciting
Yeah.
that we can still find such unusually tall reefs in the Great Barrier Reef Marine Park, said Robin Bowman, the expedition leader and marine geologist at James Cook University. She told Manga Bay in an email from aboard in the RV Falkor. People have been mapping the Great Barrier Reef since 1770 when James Cook first sailed here. Since then, we have been progressively mapping the shallower coral reefs with technologies as advanced as airborne liquid LIDAR bath
Bathymetry.
bathymetry. Oh my
Bathymetry.
God, they're using
Bathymetry.
bathymetry. Is that how you say that? Oh,
Mm-hmm.
LIDAR is how they found all those new temples in the Mayan kingdoms,
Wow.
right?
We've
They
got to
use
do a show
LIDAR,
on
go through the
LIDAR.
jungle. I
Woo.
love LIDAR. Oh my God. I love ruins. I love ancient archaeology. I love all of that. So exciting. Um,
Yeah.
Anyway, to look in the right place and then do 100% systematic mapping required in the deeper and more remote waters of the Barrier Reef Marine Park to reveal such surprising discoveries. Last week, the researchers found the large reef while on a voyage to study the northern section of the park off the coast of Cape York Peninsula. To fully explore the reef, the team deployed a remotely operated vehicle, the ROV Sebastian. Wow. So they got Sebastian
The
is a little robot
Sebastian.
going down there, which dropped to the
Sebastian.
base of the reef, Sebastian, and
That's a
worked its
big
way
thing.
up, capturing the entire process in a 4K video. Oh, that'll be good
Wow.
at the IMAX. And collecting biological samples. If we ever go to an IMAX again,
I
right?
seriously
If we
doubt
ever
it's
go
going to
to
be
any.
within the next couple of years. Who knows? We have an IMAX in our living. Everybody has an
Probably.
IMAX in their living room in the United States, anyway.
Yeah.
You know
Bowman
that.
said the ROV process was a bit like mountain climbing, but in the sea. I'm sorry, Sandy. What did you say?
Oh, I said everybody has an IMAX in their living rooms in the United States. They
Oh
already
yeah.
have it.
Oh, you know what?
You
We
know, the
do.
home
I have an
theaters, all
IMAX in
that
my living
stuff.
room. I have to say, out of all the things of this freaking debacle that we find ourselves in,
Yeah.
the Earth, the biosphere is melting, the oceans are acidifying, the species are dying, it's getting hot. I mean, all this bad, bad, bad stuff is happening, but yet we have the best entertainment we ever had. I mean, I
You'll
don't know
die
if you
happy.
remember in the 80s having to like go down to the video store and rent a video
Yeah, you
player
had to
because
rent
you didn't
videos.
have enough money to have a video player, and you'd come home and try and hook it up and then punch in one of these, videos like Starman or Raiders of the Lost Ark or something. It
Right.
was all very exotic. Like, oh my God. Now we have, 55-inch TVs in our living room, super
Or
high
we have little
def.
tiny phones and we can just watch something and ruin our eyes, but watch
Right.
something right there on the phone. It is, you're right. It is
Yeah.
quite a, and then look at the
And,
machinery they used to find that. Holy
yeah.
crap.
So the world may be melting and, demises all around us, but at least we're going out with a high level of entertainment with this apocalypse. Oh my
Right.
God. This is a pretty long article, Sandy. I
All
think
right.
we might want to kind of move on because it's one of those ones that I could read for about 5 more minutes, but it's pretty technical. But the
Yes.
thing is, it's
I'll
it's
go through the,
cool.
there
It's
is a
it's
video, but it
super
won't
cool that this
show.
thing there is a video. Do you want to play
Yeah,
the video? I
but
haven't
the
watched the
video is two
video.
hours and 43 minutes, and the
Oh,
volume the
oh,
volume will not play for the guests that are watching us because I
oh
haven't
no.
learned that yet.
So this is
And it has
something,
to do with
guys,
headphones and all of this to get the volume out. But see,
go.
it said
Yeah,
it was, or maybe
this
it's
is in
two
the show.
minutes
This will be in
43
the show
seconds point
notes.
four whatever. Maybe,
Yeah.
but see the can
So this
everybody
is
see
in the
it?
show
They
notes, and you
probably
can
can.
watch it.
It's showing the look at
Oh,
that
is
reef.
it?
It's
Oh,
showing all the
cool.
pieces
Oh, I
inside
can
it.
see it. Yeah,
That's pretty
yeah.
wild.
But
And there's a
oh
lot
yeah,
of colors. It's
it's really
not
wild.
what you always think of a reef, but you know, this is different.
So
But
this is
anyway,
this is
guys, I know
that
you
thing
can't
that
hear it.
looks
So
like
you
that
want to
that
move? Should we
tower.
move on, Jen? Oh,
So
look! It
this is
show. Do you
something that
see
we could go
as it
back.
goes?
This
Can you
video
see
will
it?
be in the
They've got
show
a
notes,
robotic
and we can
arm
go back and
taking
watch it.
samples. Wow.
Oh my God,
Hmm.
it's crazy.
But I don't know
Oh,
if
I
anybody
wonder
can
if
see it.
it's
It's
alive
probably
because
just.
it's still because it's so
Oh no,
deep.
you can see
It
it.
didn't
Look at
get
that.
roasted because it's
Why is
deeper.
everybody saying funny things about getting high? How about you're just happy? I ate. Anthony Davis said, "Who got high tonight? What does it matter?" All right, let's go to the next one. Uh,
Yeah.
this brings us really back to the sobering.
So we all know, I mean, once you take this one away, Sandy, but I just wanted to say something season. Maybe we could have like a little preamble. There are so many hurricanes that have been spinning around and hitting, and we're up to Zeta. We had
Yes,
to use the Greek alphabet
yes.
because we ran
Wild.
out of letters.
And isn't
I
this
mean,
the
this is
28th?
abrupt climate change on the half shell.
Okay, we're
So
strapped in. We're
anyway,
here. We're here. Every week we're here telling you a little bit more. And we're
a little
doing it
bit more.
together. Yes.
That's right, we are.
All right, Jen. You want to go for this one or you want me to go for this one?
Oh, you go ahead. I don't want to
Okay, I'm
hog
going
up.
ahead here, guys.
Thing.
Jennifer, we are a team. She would
We
never
are a
hog
team.
up a thing. Okay. Hurricane Zeta's high winds caused the second largest power outage. So, 3 deaths, but that's a good thing. You know, they did have 110 category winds, and you see the picture there. Um, and it really hurts these people in New Orleans. That's the really sad part. And they can withstand it the least. They really can. And because, yes, Hurricane Katrina may have built up some areas and all, but it's still not the wealthiest of areas, and people get hurt very badly, even though they might not lose their life. So this was a category 2 with 110 mile an hour winds and a central pressure of 970 millibars. It was the strongest hurricane to make U.S. landfall this late in the year since October 31st, 1899, which was a hurricane, also a category 2, hit Myrtle Beach in South Carolina. Now, that was probably a
It's
hurricane.
120 years ago.
Yes, but that was, you see, 120 years ago, they were the pollution and garbage and crap was being spewed into the atmosphere. It certainly was. It was dirty. They were burning everything. So who knows if, extra hurricane activity, maybe something was starting and brewing with all the crap that was going into the atmosphere. I don't know. It's just a theory. Of course, I'd have to find research on it, but
Well,
it is interesting. But at least it was
yeah.
only 3 deaths. I mean, it could, I guess it's a testament to building codes or whatever they've done, but there was the barrier isle where it made its initial landfall showed large homes. You know how people have to live right on the water. Large homes with their roofs torn off, a crumpled gas station canopy, and down utility poles and wires. A few collapsed buildings were reported in Louisiana from Zeta's winds, including an apartment building that partially collapsed in Terrytown. So here's the pictures of what it looked like. There's the in Yale Climate Collection Connections, fairly large, not as catastrophic as
Wow.
others, but yet think about this, Jennifer. With the
I
news,
mean,
everything is
it's
catastrophic,
still
so
huge.
nothing
And
is
the thing is, it's
catastrophic.
so late. This is late. I mean, let's keep this. It may not be large, it may not be strong. This is late October when this thing happened. Hey, look at the size of that mother. If the ocean had been hotter, it's starting to cool down now, so they're not forming as strongly. But I mean, this late October, I don't think we've ever had a hurricane this late in the season, this big, have
Mm,
we?
this big. Yeah. Zeta,
Amazing.
and then this, and then the typhoon. Oh, well, we're going there next. Uh, the gusts here were
Yeah.
what 112 miles an hour in Bayou Bienvenue. Bienvenue, Louisiana. But that's a lot. And they had an oil rig maintained by Louisiana Offshore Port recorded a wave height of 49.9 feet. Wow. On Wednesday afternoon. I just can't even imagine. And they were, the oil rig saw it because they are out there, right? So here's another picture. Okay, so we moved to the power outages. As of today, I don't know. I couldn't, sometimes when you look, Jennifer, for updated stuff, it's like the story's in there and then it goes away. And you have to go to obscure places to find the updated stuff. Or you have to go on the state website and you have to, state emergency management or whatever, which I didn't have time to do. So I don't know, but they did have quite a power outage in there. And that's what's going to happen. And people have to really prepare. I guess they're really learning down there to rely on themselves. I mean, certainly this government is not the most helpful FEMA, that's for sure. And I don't think they want because it's just that, I think people are going to get numb. Numb. But they knocked out
Yeah.
2.6 million customers, Jen. And here's another one. This
Jeez.
was the precipitation one day observed on the 29th, it said. And it said rainfall amounts. Ooh, let's see here. Can you see it closely on? Okay, on the right. So you see it's in inches. All right, so it's in inches.
Mm-hmm.
There were some places with 4, 5. But it wasn't the heaviest rainfall I've seen. I'm seeing a
Mm-hmm.
lot of 3 and 4 inch, maybe. It wasn't as heavy as it could have been, I suppose. And maybe that's what left let that's it said limited rainfall. Oh, limited rainfall amounts. I didn't remember from before. So that was one
Just
thing.
amazing.
Yeah, and then this graph, let me see. This is the NOAA, and this was observed water levels. So it's showing you where there was minor flooding, moderate flooding, and major flooding.
Okay.
Not a lot of
Yeah.
major, but it did tip. There was some major flooding, but for the most part, it stayed into the moderate area, which is still enough if it's in feet. If you're living in an area where there's
Correct.
5 feet of flooding, you're kind of fucked, don't you think? Yeah. So,
Oh yeah.
and that was in
Or
Waveland,
if
Mississippi.
sea level rises a couple of feet, and then there's that same level of tidal
Mm-hmm.
surge or whatever,
Yeah.
it's going to go inland like 40 miles.
Yeah.
You know.
And it's like nobody's, safe. What have we said this many times? It's just it's going to be a
Ugh.
being not not sustainable. What's my word? I guess kind of preparing for whatever's going to come. But it did have it said this had a significant storm surge, and in Waveland, Mississippi, that's 8.7 feet. And when
That's
their little
amazing.
live storm surge tracker at Trabus Technologies, a little advertisement, and they had that. And then there's another, that's one why I picked the Yale Climate Connections, because there were other articles on this, but this one had the most graphs, and we
Mhm.
like graphs and we like to see what's going on here. So this one was U.S.
Sure
mainland
do.
landfalls 2020 year to date Atlantic season. So it's showing you all of these landfalls. Um,
Wow. And that's
yeah, a
just
lot of
this
them.
year, all of these hurricanes. Look at poor
Yes.
Louisiana.
Well,
Holy
that's what everybody
moly.
says. And that they're already losing, people are already climate change refugees. They're migrants.
Yeah.
There are already people, and there's a few I already have talked to, and they're not going to be able to
Hmm.
live there. And if they're moving, they've moved. So, all right. So this one, and it said this was a record breaking 11th storm. And here is the NOAA Historical Hurricanes Database. Zeta was the strongest hurricane on record, with a center passing directly over the city of New Orleans, light orange. Whoa! Note that many other famous and damaging hurricanes had their centers pass within 20 miles, but are not shown on this map. So that's wild. Look
Wow.
at this map and
That's
how,
really wild. Look at
yeah, look
that.
at it.
You can see
The
it's like right
intersections.
on the money. It just passes, its center passed right over New Orleans. I did not know that, but it was lucky that it wasn't that strong. I mean, all those so-called, dikes that are
Yeah, and
protecting New
yes,
Orleans, and they all
they
been working on them, I guess.
put the money in.
Yeah.
So there are possibilities that some remediation measures can work, but for how long? And how wide and how far. I mean, that's just Louisiana, New Orleans. How far out do they go? So anyway, blah blah blah. Like every other one, expect an active November in the Atlantic. We've got the ocean temperature about zero point 0.6 degrees Celsius above average in the Caribbean, and we've got La Nina conditions that strengthened during October, and they crossed the threshold for a strong event early this week. So that and the Madden Julian Oscillation, the MJO, which is a pattern of increased thunderstorm activity near the equator that moves around the globe in 30 to 60 days, now favors tropical cyclone formation in the Atlantic. So we got to get Nicholas on to go into depth with all this. We'll see if Nick wants to come on.
Absolutely.
But this is, look at this week one forecast here on this Madden Julian oscillation, the increased thunderstorm activity near the equator. Ooh, electrical storms, it's not just thunder, right? And then there's a second week here. So there's a lot of interesting stuff in this article, and that's why I chose this one. Uh, they're
Right.
even talking about a tropical wave moving into the Caribbean. I mean, it does. It's like this is the article that never ends. All right, it's over. I found the end. Oh, jeez. Oh my goodness.
Okay. I
Oh,
know how
take
you
a
feel.
breath.
I've
Yeah,
been there.
yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Because
yeah, I've
you're
been there.
going to Typhoon Goni now. Am I saying
Oh,
it right,
yeah. I mean,
Goni?
just in case we think that all the disasters just hitting us at home. No, no, no. I'm sure many of you followed Typhoon Goni as it struck the Philippines last week. So this is an article that just came out today, actually, the 1st of
Mm.
November, 2020, and it talks about Typhoon Goni. A powerful super typhoon has slammed into the eastern Philippines, killing at least 10 people and causing volcanic mud flows
Wow.
to bury houses before weakening as it blew towards Manila, where the capital's main airport was shut down, according to officials. Typhoon Goni hit the island province of Cataduenas at dawn on Sunday with sustained winds of 140 miles an hour, which is 220 kilometers an hour, and gusts of 174 miles per hour. This was not like Zeta. Zeta was like, 110 miles an hour or something. This is
Mm.
174 miles an hour. It was heading west towards densely populated regions, including Manila, and rain
Mm.
soaked provinces were still recovering from a typhoon last week. God, see, they're getting it over in the Philippines, double whammy, that left at least 22 people dead. So this was the second one.
Second one. Yep.
Yeah. Governor Alfrances Bichara said at least 4 people were killed in his hard hit province of Albay,
Oh.
including a father and son from a rural community that was hit by mud flows and boulders swept down from Mayon volcano by heavy rains. Villagers fled to safety as the
Oh.
typhoon approached, but 2 apparently stayed put. The child was found 15 kilometers away, Bichara
Oh my
told
God.
DCMM radio, adding that the child was swept away by mud flows and floodwater. Oh, how terrifying.
It's
3
like,
other
yeah,
villagers. I mean, it's scary, right?
yeah,
You
it's
stay
gonna
home and you
happen. It's
get
gonna
like
keep
killed by
happening.
volcanic mud flows.
Oh,
3
lovely.
other villagers, including one pinned down by a tree, were killed in Albay, this guy said.
Look at
Ricardo
this
Gilad,
mess.
who heads the government's disaster response agency, said the typhoon's destructive force was capable of causing major damage. There are so many people who are in really vulnerable areas, he said. The Philippine Weather Agency reinforced those concerns, saying that within 12 hours of the typhoon arriving on shore, people would experience catastrophic violent winds and intense to torrential rainfall. Residents were warned of probable landslides. Yeah, watch out for the volcanic mud flow, flooding, storm
God.
surges of up to 5 meters, and winds that could blow away shanties. And that's
Wow.
honestly what a lot of the people in Southeast Asia live in. They kind of live in shanties by our standards.
Oh,
Um,
absolutely.
Sad but true, sad but true. But as in the past storms, some did not heed warnings. In Quezon province, one villager, Diane Joko, scrambled with her husband, parents, and siblings and cousin out of their flimsy houses on stilts on the shore of Calulog town, but stayed close by in a neighbor's sturdier house um, near the coast to guard their homes. Wow. So they didn't leave because they wanted to guard their homes. guess. I guess
Mm.
there's looting, right? We should be nearby to be
Well,
able to
they're
repair any
humans.
damage to our house quickly. Otherwise, it will fall apart and be blown away. We have no other house. Oh, so sad.
I've got friends with
She
a home in
suddenly yelled as
Philippines.
she spoke.
Yeah.
Huh?
I have friends with a home in the
Excuse me?
Philippines. I have friends with a home in the
Do you?
Philippines. And I haven't heard what happened yet, but I'm waiting.
Yeah. She suddenly yelled as she spoke, saying that a part of the tin roof of her neighbor's house was apparently ripped off by a gust. Wow. One of the most
Mm.
powerful typhoons in the world this year, Goni, has evoked memories of Typhoon Haiyan, which left more than 7,300 people dead or missing, flattened entire villages, swept ships inland, and displaced more than 5 million people in the central
Oh,
Philippines. This was in November of
I
2013.
remember.
That's when Typhoon Haiyan
Yep.
happened. Goni weakened before nightfall with sustained winds of 102 miles per hour and gusts of up to 143 miles per hour, but stayed dangerously strong. Jalad said nearly 1 million people have been preemptively moved into emergency
Wow.
shelters. Forecasters said the typhoon's eye could pass about 43 miles south of metropolitan Manila, a region of more than 13 million people
A
around
lot of
nightfall on
people.
Sunday. Oh, that's
With
like
not a
right
lot of
now.
civil rights either. Boy.
No, yeah, terrible.
Mm, mm, mm,
Manila's main
mm.
airport was ordered to shut for 24 hours from Sunday to Monday, and the airline canceled dozens of international and domestic flights. The military and national police, along with the Coast Guard, were on full alert. I think that, I
Yeah,
mean, it goes on
we're
for
good.
quite a ways.
Yeah, I think we're good.
Oh, here, this one phrase. We are
Okay.
scared. Our fears are doubled, said Jacqueline Almocera, a 44-year-old street vendor who took cover at a shelter. The people here are mixed, unlike when you're at home, safe, and we don't go out. Here, you interact with other evacuees. Well, how's
Uh-huh.
this going to affect the
I don't
coronavirus?
know. It
Hundreds of
didn't
COVID
have.
patients were moved to hospitals and hotels from tent
Ugh,
quarantine centers as the typhoon blew closer to the country. Wow. The
scary stuff.
Philippines has just been pummeled.
Yeah,
The Philippines has about 20
weather-wise and
typhoons and
politically.
storms each year. It
Hmm.
is located on the Pacific Ring of Fire, where earthquakes and volcanic eruptions are common, making it one of the world's most disaster prone countries. Well, I did read the whole article after
Yeah,
all.
but it was a good one,
But that's
and
just,
yeah, I
yeah,
got a lot out of that. It's, but
yeah,
guess where we're
that's
segueing to?
scary.
It is scary, but the next one is
Where?
scary too in its own way. We are going to
Ugh.
Alaska, and we are going to talk about Trump's administration issuing the go ahead for a major Arctic Alaska oil project. And I did my election show on Tongass, and I went off the other night on that road rule. And I guess we can do one piece where we're peaked in our anger, and this one gets me. It just really angers me. Everything about Alaska angers me, and it's going to be worse.
Mhm.
This is a sign. See the picture? It's two wells,
Mm.
Phillips. It's the politics in Alaska. Also, they have a fossil fuel loving governor, and it's a very difficult situation. And I bet Jim can address that a little bit better when we have him on again. But they gave final approval to ConocoPhillips' plan for the major new oil field on Alaska's North Slope. The BLM on Monday issued its record of corrupt decision in favor of the plan for the Willow Master Development Plan. Willow, a prospect with oil from the previously neglected Nanushuk geologic formation that runs through the eastern side of the National Petroleum Reserve, Alaska, would be the westernmost producing oil field on the North Slope. They just can't leave it alone. Everything has to be exploited. The project will tap into what is believed to be 590 million barrels of reserves.
Which will
And
all be burned, which will only
yep,
add to the
it's
carbon dioxide glut
exactly.
in
There
our
you go.
atmosphere.
GHG emissions problem we have. Well, we have a
Yeah.
GHG
Well,
problem. That's what I
they
learned the other
certainly
day.
didn't drill that. They're not going to drill that oil for their health. They're going to burn it as fast as they can.
Yeah, but it's funny
You
because I
know.
thought we had a glut of oil now. It's so weird what's going on. But he said,
I don't know.
this friggin' moron is he. I just really can't stand it. The BLM issued its final environmental impact statement endorsing ConocoPhillips, but it's funny because I go online and find these things, especially in Alaska and where I live. I find the public comment period, and I like to write public comments. It seems like a lot of people do what I do, but they don't listen. Money talks, public comments. They don't. And it's a sad state of affairs sometimes because you feel like you have something you can say. Public comment period worked when we did our pipeline fight here and we won. They got 5,000 over 5,700 letters to the
Mm-hmm.
New York State Department of Environmental, whatever the hell, the DEC, and it wasn't built. Of course, it's still being litigated, fought, and it's ridiculous. So of course, it's let's see, this is a key milestone that allows us to move forward with project planning. We believe and it's not Black Lives Matter, it's BLM, the Bureau of Land Management, and cooperating
Very different.
agencies, yes, have done a robust, thorough, and extensive review of the project. And ConocoPhillips, they appreciate all the
Endorsing.
hard work. Yeah. The decision was applauded by Alaska politicians. Of course.
Yay!
They are they are they are stinky. They smell. They smell like money and greed. Well, that's what I bit. I said, smell it. Greed. But anyway, of course, environmentalists condemned it as a rush job and part of a wider campaign to enable damaging oil development across Alaska's Arctic. Of course it is. The attacks on the Arctic just continue to escalate. Nicole Whittington Evans, Alaska Program Director for Defenders of Wildlife, said in a statement, the finalization of oil and gas plans for the Willow Project and the Arctic National Wildlife Refuge are a 1-2 punch to wildlife, including imperiled southern Beaufort Sea polar bears and their critical habitat. Despite the urgent need to ramp down our carbon emissions, as the Arctic continues to melt, the Bureau of Land Management just continues its drumbeat for fossil fuels. Jennifer, it makes me sick to my stomach.
Sick.
Sick to my stomach.
Sick. It's just like, no matter how many good citizens out there try and mitigate this in their own private little way, like, maybe if we got 100,000 people to put solar on their roof, but then you get shit like this. And it just is like, why bother?
Yeah.
It makes me just depressed just to
Well,
know how
yeah.
destructive this administration has been, how they've rolled back every single environmental measure they could get their hands on, how they stack the court, how they're doing all of these things to
Yeah.
take away rights. I used to think that we were sort of, kind of a liberal, we had that I don't know.
What, for
It's just
5 minutes
it's
when we fought
depressing.
in the 60s? But really, we're based on a
Yeah.
lot of ugly things, and a lot of people are opening
Well,
their eyes to that.
we're a nation based on slavery, genocide, and another side, but slavery and
Moranicide.
genocide, Moranicide, yes, Moranicide, and there's karma in these
Moranicide.
decisions. Founded, we were founded on the black backs of other human beings. That's wrong. That's wrong.
That's wrong.
You know,
We were, and
it's
now
really
we
wrong.
have the cult and the other cult. We have our crisis of ISIS, our own cult in the United States. Oh,
Mm,
God. But I'll show that
unbelievable.
video at the end again for anybody who missed it. But
Oh, it's a
anyway,
good one.
Forest Dweller's here with us, and I just wanted to mention that because he never gets to come. He's in Holland. He never it gets to come. So hi,
Hi, Forest
Forest.
Dweller.
I'm actually thrilled. So Yes, I am. I am. All right. So where are we going next? We are segueing to kind of some pictures and graphs. Jennifer's not going to
Yeah,
have Twitter. She might have a little lag waiting for me to pull up something. But I guess what I'm going to pull up
that's
first
okay.
is the
If you could just
introduction
tell me
here.
what you're gonna
Yeah,
just
exactly.
tell
I'm
me
going
what
to
you're
put
gonna
up a
pull
picture.
up.
First thing I'm going to put up is
Okay.
another picture. And I'm going to move us to the left. And I'm going to put up this screenshot from, uh, yeah, Zach Lave. And it is the October, and it's the Laptev sea ice. And he
Okay.
says, note that the basin is geographically constrained. Same maximum sea cover data from NSIDC. This was November 1st. You can see, Jennifer, I think you can see this one, the Zach Labe one. And it's just, it's,
Oh,
it's
okay.
the
Yeah,
extent. Yeah,
absolutely.
the extent,
Yeah.
of course, it's
Yeah, yeah.
it's extremely low. And I showed the page because you said you weren't on Twitter, and I have all the Twitter stuff.
Yeah. No,
And I
I
pull up.
wasn't able to see this one, so I'm glad that you pulled that up. And with
Yeah,
Ecamm, I can see exactly what you've
good.
got
I
there.
know we
Yeah,
are
I
on the
mean,
new green room.
it's
It's great.
amazing.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, it's
and
awesome.
I have another. Yeah.
And you can see how that goes. The last 40 years, was going along until, I mean, the Laptev Sea, this is actually within the last 15 years, this degradation that we see. It was fairly stable up until then, but the last 15 years, it's gone down to nothing. And as you can see, we've just flatlined out in the Laptev Sea. There's too much heat coming into the system.
Okay. Yes, there is. And I will show the next one, and you can then peruse this one. The first screenshot was from Twitter, and this is Scott Duncan. He's a meteorologist
Mm-hmm.
on Twitter. And I picked this graphic particularly because it is easy to see. Right away, you see where the ice is supposed to be, but is not refreezing.
Mm-hmm.
So he says while large parts of the Arctic remain ice free, temperatures remain extremely high. Jennifer?
Right. Absolutely. Well,
And I,
everywhere that's blue,
mm,
yeah, can you hear me?
yeah,
Everywhere that's blue is abnormal, where that missing ice. It's
yep,
not really that long ago that at this time of year, it was all frozen there. And now there's so much heat in the system that it's missing. And this is beginning to, of course, affect the jet stream. And it's indicative of the polar vortex split, which we see, I think, in an upcoming graphic that you're going to show that jet stream and the polar vortex split.
yeah,
Things in the Arctic are getting warmer and warmer, and very soon, this last little barrier of ice, which is quite thin, the volume is way down from where it used to be. Extent is one thing, volume's quite another, and both extent and volume are at record low. And
yep.
so,
But that was
if
a
the
good
ice, if
graph.
it doesn't get down cold enough, that ice is not going to form, and that's going to
Mm-mm.
affect a lot of things.
It's pretty scary. Pretty scary.
Pretty
All right, let
scary.
me pull up. Mm-hmm. But I thought that was good. I like this guy's. I'm gonna follow him along with Nicholas. The next one. This was a temperature to show
Yes.
air temperatures, and on the right side of the screen you can see the air temperature changes around the world. It doesn't look that dramatic, and it's kind of small to really look at this,
Well,
but go ahead, Jen.
it's it's actually very interesting because what
Mm-hmm.
you can see is that there are two big balls of cold air, right? There's one that's pretty much straight across the Arctic, and then there's a break, and then there's another ball of air that's basically kind of dripping down to Canada and North America, giving us abnormally cold temperatures here as this basically drips like an ice cream cone. So this is kind of split. This is like a split of the polar vortex, and we're going to see the deepening of that, which means that over this next winter, we're going to have abnormally cold temperatures in Canada and in this northern central part of the United States. This thing drips on our head.
Mm-hmm.
And in other places, it's going to be their
Jen?
illustration of the two big balls of cold air. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can now. Mm-hmm. You talking?